Hey everybody, so I want to show off a Dynamo usage script I built. Recently it was very hard to do. Some of so for the most part, the setup wasn't that hard, like creating this script. It was a little bit of Python and creating some authorization keys was so hard for me because I had never really done anything like that. Luckily, we have a great resource within the firm I work at. We have a software developer that was kind of aware of that stuff and was able to get it fixed and working pretty quickly. But anyways, so this is kind of the reason why I want to show this off is because it's kind of cool. Where we're posting this information, not necessarily what we're tracking, because I think that's kind of typical to most of these. I'm not doing anything really wild in there. I'm tracking date, the system, the user, or I mean the machine name, the username, the file. This number is only for some projects, so this is like an estimated time saved. But typically, all right, for some scripts, we will quantify that based off of what it is that it produces. So if it's sheets, then for every one sheet, we can quantify some type of time that like an estimated time that it's saved, folks. This input here is just tracking the duration of the script. And then this one down here is project script data input. So they'll tie an input into this. And all of this is wrapped up in a custom node. I mean, currently we're in a DYN, but this is in a DYF, the entire thing. Down here, we have just a list input. And what we would have there is, for example, if that script was creating dimensions. So for every dimension it created, it would give us a count. So maybe 20 dimensions. And maybe it's tagging as well. So for every tag that it's creating, it counts that. And so the data that would go into that script would be specific to that script. So we would, it's 5, whatever, and then maybe, 10. So we would have, like in this example, we have 5, 10, and then 5, let's say 5 dimensions, 10 tags, something like that. Well, that's going to be specific, like not the numbers, but the order of the numbers. We know the first item is per the dimensions, and the second item is for the tags. So in a Power BI dashboard, we can, knowing that that's the structure for this specific script, since we are tracking the script's workspace, so we know the name of the script, then with that order, we always know it's going to come in that way, and then we can read in those values, give them a number, so maybe every tag is 10 seconds or something like that. Take that times 10. So 10 seconds times 10, maybe, it's the same for dimensions, so 5 times 10, and then now you have a kind of not an ROI, but a time saved. So that's one way we would do that. And then for the like random scripts, we would input, something there to indicate how much time it saves. So maybe something as typical is creating a project. Then again, we actually can create levels and a variety of other things based off of that input. So maybe like linking in of one file, you may want to give it an estimated time. Scripts like that, just where it's like you run it, that's the time it takes. What's cool is we can actually turn this into an input, and in the real script or the custom node that I created, you don't have to put anything in that input. It just defaults to 0. But you can tie something into it if you want. Over here, so writing a TXT file to users documents folder. All this does is it tracks all that information, and it creates a TXT file on the user's system. So their computer, it puts it into their, I think, documents folder. And that's where, from here, that's where things kind of get a little crazy. I've got to create, so if you're familiar with HTTP requests and stuff like that, web requests, all that kind of stuff, it can get kind of messy. And so, at least for me, it's been I've been trying to wrap my head around with this and the stuff that I do with Forge. So it was quite new to me, and I'm pretty excited that we actually got it to work. So up here, there's the HTTP or the URL for the web request, and we would take that and just the file name. So in this case, you can see what the file name is, and I did run this already. And then down here, I don't want to expand this because this is creating a lot of, it's creating these special keys and stuff. I don't want to expand that just because I'm not entirely sure if you can reverse engineer that and get the actual secret. But this output, what it does is it dumps out our headers, or the values for our headers. And so like this input here is, so each of these are headers. It's adding a header each time. I can't expand these I can't expand the code blocks before them because that'll give away that information. But anyways, it adds the headers. Some of those headers would be the time, the exact time, the authorization token, the script's name. The last one is the actual TXT file that we wrote out. That's what exports out here, or that's what we add here at the end. So after we add all our headers, then we add our web requests. We add a file as bytes, and then after that we post it. So we execute it and post it up on a location. And in this case, we're posting it on an Azure blob, kind of storing all the information, and now that means that we can view that information, start to quantify, start to identify where what scripts are being ran the most, who's using what, if there's issues with scripts, stuff like that. Proven ROI. I'll show you that. So I'm going to close this script. I'm going to just reopen up Dynamo, and then we can reopen up that script. Now, as a custom node, runs totally fine, but because it caches all that information in the background, or binds it, I guess, I have to close the script and reopen it so that it'll run correctly. But as a custom node or in Dynamo Player, it runs totally fine. So you can see below that I've got the DYF file. Oh, and the cool thing is, and something I didn't mention, was all this web request stuff. I used the package, so I'll just show you what packages I used. I think I only used the web request package. There it is. So yeah, DynaWeb 1.0.3. So DynaWeb. Definitely check that out. Super cool. I'm hoping to do a future video on creating a project in BIM 360 automatically. I think that would be pretty badass. So check that out. And the way that I handled this script going in. So I've used Postman. If you're familiar with that, you can kind of do web requests with that as well. That's specifically built for doing stuff like that. And so that's where I initially started. But when I got to Dynamo, I didn't know what to do because there's only one node for web request in default Dynamo. I was able to find that package, but what really gave me a good start to actually build this was just going in and looking at his samples. He's got 10, 20 different samples, project or scripts doing different things. I grabbed one of those and I started from there, and then kind of built this. So here is the Power BI dashboard that we got. So this is looking at the Azure blob, so where all this information is going. and you can see that I've ran it a whole bunch of times. If I scroll down, you'll also see that there's other folks within DLR group that ran it as well. But just to kind of show you a real kind of live example, I'm just going to run it in Dynamo, and then we should see an update. We should see it say 12 something about 12:29, 12:30 there a.m. So let's run it. Only takes a second. You can see it's already done. Open up Power BI, which was really important for me, because if we were going to pull this into every single script we built, then I needed it to not add any extra time for any users, which, it practically doesn't. So that was really kind of nice. So over here, we just need to refresh this data. And this kind of takes a second, so it's just reaching out there, so you can see what it's reaching out to. And then now you can see the next run. So at 12:29, and I'm noticing. Okay, yeah. So 12:29. I was getting confused because I saw 12:17:29, but I forgot. This is so this last part is the date. So it'll give you 10/5/20, so October 5th, 2020, and then the exact time, so 12:17:29. So it matches exactly what this says. So you can see we can track them. It takes only a second to run. I think this is a fantastic way to track that information. It adds absolutely no time to the to scripts. It can run and track every single user. We can store it up here on an Azure blob and then report that information through Power BI. Quickly get an ROI on how we're using Dynamo scripts throughout the firm. And what that comes with, like, by tracking the duration of the script, we can quickly figure out, okay, how long are these? Is this running above typical? Are we seeing that some scripts are being used more than others? Should we spend our time fixing these scripts over these ones because these are, ran the most? Which ones are saving us the most time? And obviously, by proving ROI behind these tools, that gets you more buy-in, so you can show this to other folks and show them the benefit of leveraging Dynamo. And then second, that shows upper management that this is worth an investment, and it's worth developing further, creating more workflows, leveraging automation. So anyways, I just wanted to kind of show you that, just show you a quick view and demo of that. Let me know if you have any questions. I definitely recommend you going out to DynaWeb and kind of checking that out. Maybe in the future, if I can figure out how to build an Azure blob myself, I can try to make one, and then we can actually walk through creating a script like that. But for now, just check that out. And then if you run into any problems, or you're trying to do something like this, and you're getting stuck or whatever, feel free to reach out if you've got questions. But anyways, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.